Good roads eluded most Americans and virtually all Southerners. Many roads, especially in the South, weren't even good enough for animals. In their place was a jumble of muddy, sandy clay routes covering the region, full of dead ends and treacherous mud puddles. Hi, I'm Zacharias. I'm the Senior Curator of Education and History at the Museum of Arts and Sciences in Daytona Beach. Today I'm in search of the remains of an old road made up of bricks. And behind me is a 9-mile segment of one of the last remnants of the Old Dixie Highway. Here in Flagler County, you can actually drive on this forgotten road. It takes you through some of the most rustic and scenic parts of Florida. It was built in 1915, and it is one of the earliest automobile roads in Florida. It started in Mackinac, Michigan, and ended in Miami, Florida. It's rugged and bumpy, and it'll be a fun ride. So let's get going. A common misconception is that the automobile was the catalyst for the expansion and improvement of American roads, but in reality, it was the bicycle craze of the 1880s and 90s that brought a demand for better roads to the forefront. As bicycles waned at the turn of the century, the focus of better roads shifted to the influence of automobiles. The Dixie Highway served as a bridge to end the isolation of southern states and to link it to the north. It also served as a model for modern long-distance travel and commerce. It was a network of roads that covered some 6,000 miles. Having a common interest, rural farmers, city drivers, and automobile industrialists formed an uneasy alliance in a national movement called the Good Roads Movement in the 1910s and 20s. It was out of this coalition that the Dixie Highway was born. It was the brainchild of automobile pioneer Carl G. Fisher. Carl Fisher, industrialist, entrepreneur, and visionary. He's called the father of the Dixie Highway. He was an integral part of making the automobile a viable form of transportation. He spearheaded the nation's first road, the East-West Lincoln Highway, in 1913. Fisher was the first director of the Dixie Highway, promoting the road in part to serve the resort community he was developing in South Florida. If you get out of the car for a few minutes and get up close and personal with these bricks, it's kind of cool. Because if you look on these bricks, it says Graves BHAM.ALA, which means the Graves Company out of Birmingham, Alabama. That's where they were manufactured. William H. Graves was a lawyer in Knoxville, Tennessee, and he ended up relocating in Birmingham, Alabama in the 1890s. And he got into the business of manufacturing bricks for buildings and roads. In Florida, there's other places where you can find these bricks. St. Augustine and Tallahassee. In some of the historic parts, you will see these bricks laid down. If you were driving this in 1915 in your Model T coming from up north, this was a one-lane road. Now it's a two-lane road today because they've added a lot of dirt over the years. You would have passed through a lot of longleaf pine forests, turpentine camps, and timber operations. The Dixie Highway was built mostly by convict labor, and its construction was a major threat to the monopolistic railroads for long-distance travel and trade. Many tin can tourists traveled this highway over the years. It's quite remarkable that we're going down a road that's 105 years old, but 15 years after its completion, by 1930, it was already obsolete. Despite the importance of the Dixie Highway, it has largely been forgotten in popular memory and mostly ignored by historians, but it is a testament to early auto tourism. Roads like this were a catalyst for economic development. Our roads have come a long way, and you can still drive parts of the paved portions of the Old Dixie Highway right here in Volusia County. I'm at the end of our 10-mile journey on the Old Dixie Highway. It really is an early 20th century version of today's interstate, just a lot slower and a lot bumpier. Plus it was pretty cool. We got to see some wildlife like some deer and some wild turkeys. Unfortunately, I didn't get it on camera, but hey, I'm Zacharias. I'm the Senior Curator of Education and History at the Museum of Arts and Sciences in Daytona Beach.